Lesson 13, Basic Communications, Phone and Messaging.
In a world where VoiceOver users need to communicate and use the phone app or the Messages app.
All right, big fella, that's enough.
But I was just getting going.
Quit mucking about. And hey, that goes for the rest of you over there too.
Okay, fine. We'll get back to work. Is there anything in particular you need us to do? Remember, we can each do, around 10 trillion operations per second.
Well, let's see how many operations it takes for y'all to clean up the break room. You guys left it a mess. It looks like a tornado hit over there. Are you kidding me? There's digital coffee rings all over the table. Somebody left bits of unused code in the sink and didn't even run the disposal. I mean, there's a half-rendered donut on the counter. I expect to find the latte machine broken over there and only dispensing 404 errors. Come on, guys, get it together. And there is something very sticky over there.
That's, disturbing. Let's focus on something else. What is our next lesson, Mr. Brian?
Well, we really need to start talking about communications. Yeah, I know. Boring subject for you guys, because you guys can talk to each other directly over the net lazy, but us humans have to communicate somehow.
You mean network?
No, I mean net lazy. All you guys do is sit around all day and think up about a million jokes. Literally. Now, get back down to the office of outdated equipment and get back to your T-flops.
Hey there, welcome to Lesson 13. I'm Junie, your guide for today. Just relax, sip some coffee if you've got it, and let's talk about making calls and sending messages with VoiceOver. In this lesson, we'll cover basic communication using VoiceOver, focusing on 2 essential apps, phone and messages. These are the primary ways we make and receive calls, send text messages, and stay connected. While we will briefly mention FaceTime for voice calls, we'll save FaceTime video and advanced features for another lesson. Navigating the phone app. The phone app is the core app for making and receiving calls, accessing contacts, and managing voicemail. When you open the phone app, you'll find 5 tabs along the bottom of the screen. Let's go through them in detail. 1. Favorites. This tab allows you to store frequently contacted people for quick access. Adding someone to your favorites makes calling them much faster as you don't have to search through contacts. You can add someone to your favorites through their contact card, but hang on there, buckaroo, we'll get there in a second. You can also reorder your favorites list to keep the most important contacts at the top. Pro tip: if you often call the same few people, add them to your favorites to be able to find them faster. 2. Recent tab. This tab displays a list of all recent incoming, outgoing, and missed calls. Each entry shows the caller's name, if saved in contacts, or their number if not saved. Swipe right or left to navigate the list. A double tap will redial that number. If you swipe up or down on a recent call in this list, you can see other options like delete or block and report junk. Mr. Brian will later demonstrate how to create a new contact right from your recent call list. If you only want to see missed calls, there's a button you can click near the top to filter just the missed calls. Pro tip: if you get an important call and forget the number, check the Recent tab for quick access. 3. Contacts tab. This is where all your saved contacts are stored. You can search for a contact by swiping to the search field at the top and entering a name, or navigate down your list as normal. On the far right of the screen is a section index control for moving through your contacts a whole letter at a time. Just place the focus on this section index and swipe up with one finger or down to rapidly move through your contact list. When you open a contact, you'll find several options, including 1. The Add button, located in the top right. Use this button to create a new contact. The top right is also where you can find the Edit and Done buttons for editing existing contact information. Make sure you click the Done button after editing information on the contact card. 2. A variety of text fields. There are many fields you can use information in the contact card. There are the usual standard address and contact information fields, as well as ones for websites, social media information, and even a nice little notes field for, notes. 3. Action buttons. There are a variety of buttons you can use to perform different actions right from the contact card, such as placing a phone call or sending a text message, sharing the contact card, or making someone an emergency contact. You can also organize your contacts into convenient lists to help keep track of your peoples and organize them into groups. Pro tip: if you use Siri, you can quickly say things like "call mom" or "message John" instead of navigating the app manually. By the way, if you guys want to add me as a contact, go ahead. My number is 867-5309. Yes, I know. It was Jenny's old number. You've no idea the calls I get. 4th, keypad tab. This tab is a manual dialer where you can enter a phone number using an on-screen keypad. You'll also find a call button below the number entry area to place the call, and if you need it, there is a delete button down near the bottom if you need to remove any digits. Well, we need to be careful with that word, Mr. Fingers, don't we? You can paste numbers here if they were copied from another app. 5. Voicemail tab. This tab allows you to listen to and manage your voicemail messages. Double tap on a voicemail message to play it. After you have listened to a voicemail, double tapping on it will expand it and give other options, such as playing the voicemail again or deleting it. You can also record a custom voicemail greeting using the greeting button near the top of the screen. Mr. Brian will jump in after me to demonstrate some of the cool tricks we've covered. But for now, you're stuck with me. Lucky you. So let's continue by looking at the Messages app. The Messages app. The Messages app is how we send and receive text messages, voice messages, and media files. Using VoiceOver, here's how we navigate it efficiently. 1. Conversation screen. When you open Messages, you land on the list of active conversations. The most recent messages appear at the top, and you can pin conversations to the top of your list so they are always close by. Swipe right or left to move through conversations, and double tap to open an existing one. You can use the Compose button near the top of this screen to create a new conversation. Save some time by partially typing the person's name and then locating their name in the Siri suggestions shown below the text field. You can make it a group conversation by simply adding more names to a new conversation using this Compose button. 2. Reading and sending messages. Inside a conversation, swipe through messages. VoiceOver will read them aloud. Remember that the newest messages will be located lower on the screen. Locate and double tap the text field at the bottom to start typing a message. Use the dictation button next to the spacebar if you prefer voice input, or use that trusty 2-finger. Double tap once you start editing the text field to start dictation. Remember to do that 2-finger double tap when you are done talking to stop dictation. Press send to send the message. The send button is located directly after the text field, so many times you can just swipe right to find it after you use dictation. Note that there is a button located near the bottom of this screen, near the message text field. That is labeled Apps. Activating this button shows a list of other apps that can do things in Messages, but the way of getting back to the message screen is not apparent. As there is no button to close this app's listing, you will need to do a 2-finger scrub to return back to the Messages screen. Final thoughts. See, that wasn't too bad. With VoiceOver, managing calls and messages is actually pretty smooth once you get the hang of it. And hey, if I can explain it, you can definitely do it. The phone and Messages apps are well optimized for blind users, and with some practice, you'll navigate them with ease. In the next lesson, we'll dive deeper into the Mail app. For now, take time to practice these core communication skills. I'll turn it over to Mr. Brian for a demo of some pretty cool things you can try on your own. I'm so jelly.
All right, thank you there, Junie. Mr. Fingers reporting for duty. All right, let's get limbered up here. Maybe. That's much better. All loosened up. We're going to take a look at the phone app, and Junie has done a great job so far of describing the general layout and details. So I'm just going to show off a couple tricks. So first, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am on the recent calls list.
Selected. Recents. Tab. 2 of 5.
And then I'm going to find a number, an unknown number here on my list.
+1 984 384 9670. Incoming. Missed. 1 call. Potential spam. February 7th, 2025 at 5:46 p.m. Button.
All right, so normally I wouldn't pay much attention to that particular recent call. It's a spam call likely, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a contact just from that phone number. We're going to pretend it's a number that I wanted to save. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to swipe down until I hear more info, remembering keeping the focus directly on that phone number.
Delete. Block and report junk. More info.
I could have blocked and reported junk right there, but I'm going to go to more info.
Potential spam.
And now I'm going to flick through this next page, this more info page, until I find a button that says create new contact.
+1 984. Message button. Call button. Video button. Mail dimmed button. Pay. Apple Pay. February 7th to 5:46 p.m. Share contact button. Create new contact button.
That's what I'm looking for. Activate that.
Text field is editing. First name. Text field is editing. First name. Character mode. Insertion point at start.
Now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and put in some information. I'm not going to really put a whole lot in here. I'm going to just leave it as it is. And then I'm going to go through here and just show you some of the other fields that are located here.
Last name, text field. Company, text field. Phone, button. +1 984 384 9670. Text field. Add phone, button.
I'm going to pause right there at the add phone button. If you wanted to add a second number, you could do that. It would put a new text field there and you can add a second number. Same thing with email.
Add email, button.
You can add an email. You can add multiple emails. Let's continue.
Pronouns, button. Ringtone, default, text tone, default. Add URL, button. Add address, button. Add birthday, button. Add date, button. Add related name, button. Add social profile, button. Add instant message, button. Notes. Text field.
There's a notes text field. You can put just any kind of information you want in there.
Add verification code, button. Add field, button. Add to list, button. Vertical scroll bar, 5 pages, 100%, adjustable.
And that's it for that particular contact card. Now, when I save it here, I go to the top right corner and I locate the done button.
Done, button. Done. Back, button.
And now I can go through this and I can find additional buttons down here located lower in the screen.
+1. Message, call, video, mail, pay. February 7th, 5:46 p.m. Notes. Share contact, button.
I can use the share contact button and share this information with other people.
Add to favorites, button.
I can add to favorites. We've talked about the favorites tab earlier.
Add to emergency contacts, button.
Add to emergency contacts, of course.
Block caller, button.
And there's block caller if you needed to block that number. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this contact to a list. We can assign contacts to lists for organization, sending out group emails and things like that. So I'll need to edit the contact. I'm still on this page. If I go to the top right corner.
Edit, button. Done, dimmed.
And then go all the way down to the end of your contact card.
Company, text field. Rows 7 to 16 of 20, rows 14 to 22 of, rows 15 to 22 of 22. Add to list, button.
And there's a button to add to list. I can activate that.
Cancel, button.
And I'm going to find a list I've already created.
Lists, heading. iCloud. Contacts, 11. Contacts, from Gmail vertical line, first aid students, 12. Image.
And I'm just going to assign it to first aid students here.
Selected. Cancel, button.
And then I can save. I can go to the top right corner and click done.
Done, button.
Activate done.
Edit.
Now, if you want to find your lists, if you're on your main contact list, go to the top left corner.
Lists, back button.
Activate that.
Edit, button.
And you can see all of your lists.
Add list, button. Lists, heading. All contacts, 3. iCloud, button. Expand, all iCloud, 350. Contacts, 11. Button. Contacts, from Gmail vertical line, first aid students, 13. Button. Section index, adjustable.
And now it's presenting me a page with just those 13 contacts. But I'm going to go back to all contacts.
Lists, back button. First aids to all iCloud, 354, iCloud, button, all contacts, 381, button. Section index, adjustable.
Right away, the focus is moved to the section index. If I start to flick down with one finger, I can move through the letters of the alphabet to quickly get to the contacts that start with those letters.
Cap B, selected. Cap C, selected. Cap D, selected. Cap E, selected. Cap F, selected.
Likewise, if I flick up, I'll move in reverse order through the letters of the alphabet.
Cap E, selected. Cap D, selected. Cap C, selected.
And that's a way to get through stuff very, very quickly. Where do we find the section index? Well, normally if I put the focus here in the middle,
Manganese Auto.
it's going to say the name of a contact. If I take my finger and go to the far right side of the screen,
Section index, adjustable.
it's going to say section index. And as long as the focus stays there, I can flick up or down and quickly move through the different letters of the alphabet. All right, so let's next turn our attention to some phone settings that you might want to adjust. And so I'm in the settings app right now, and I'm going to scroll down the main settings page until I get all the way to the bottom.
Page 2 of 3. Page 3 of 3.
And then touch at the very bottom. I'm looking for a button that says apps,
Apps, button.
and activate that.
Selected. Apps. AMC Theaters, button.
Now here's another case where we've got a whole long list of apps and I don't want to have to keep scrolling like crazy. So I'm going to go over to the far right and touch on the far right part of the screen
Section index, adjustable.
and then start to flick down until I get to the P's.
Cap B, so Cap C, Cap D, Cap E, Cap F, Cap G, Cap A, Cap A, Cap J, Cap K, Cap A, Cap A, Cap A, Cap A, Cap P, selected.
And then start flicking to the right.
Rapid ring, button. Reboca, button.
And you can see it didn't really do what it said. It said we got the P's, but we're actually in the R's. So I'm just going to flick left and get back to it.
Cap Podcast Guru, Pocket GM, Playground, button. Pixie Bot, button. Hi, button. Photos, button. Phone, button.
There's the phone app. I'm going to activate that.
Allow phone to access, heading.
Now, while we're here, we want to talk about a couple of these settings in particular. The first is,
Incoming calls, full screen, button.
that's the first one. I like the phone app when I get an incoming call to take over the whole screen so I don't have to try and find the little phone conversation. Sometimes that get puts up in a little part of the screen near the top. So having the phone call take over the whole screen can be helpful. The next one,
Announce calls, always, button.
I want my phone to always announce calls when I get them. And sometimes if we don't have this set to always, then when you get a phone call, it'll ring, but it doesn't say who it is. And I always want to know who it is so I can run over and pick up the phone or not. With the new iOS 18, actually 18.1, we have the ability to record our phone calls. If you're on a phone call, on the screen, locate a button to hide the keypad, and then there will be a button to record. You can make a recording of your phone calls. The recordings will go to the Notes app and you can access them there. Here's the toggle for that.
All recording, on, button.
It'll say call recording. We want to make sure that is set to on. Additionally,
Silence unknown callers, on, button.
silence unknown callers, that can be helpful with all the spam that we get today. This way, if you don't have that number in your contacts, then it will not ring on your phone. You'll get the call, they can leave a voicemail, you can respond, but it won't make your phone ring. And so I've got that, you can see I've got that turned on. Sometimes you need to turn that off if you need to interact with an Uber driver or a delivery driver and things like that. In general, I just find that my life is a lot less interrupted if I silence unknown calls. Before we leave the phone app, I'm going to mention one more thing. This is kind of important. If you navigate to the top of your contacts page and then start flicking to the right, we're just going to go very, very shortly from the top of the contacts page.
Search field, dictate, button. Brian Clark, my card.
You'll find a contact card for yourself. Make sure that you fill this out, put your information in there because it can be helpful when we do other activities around the phone. I'm going to demonstrate that here in just a second. Okay, we're over here in the Messages app. This is how we can send text messages to people, contacts, things like that. I've started up here at the top of the screen and I'm just going to navigate to the right with one finger swipes to the right.
Messages, heading. Compose, button.
There's a compose button if you want to start a new conversation with somebody. That's going to pop open a text field. You can partially type their name, and Serial will give you a list of suggestions so that you don't have to type the whole rest of it. If you add more than one contact, you will create a group chat, and that can be helpful if you want to talk to more than one person at a time. So continuing to navigate down the page.
Search field. Dictate button. Conversations, barred, pinned.
There's my first conversation. You can tell I have that pinned. That's my wife. And all you need to do is put a focus on a conversation and start to flick down.
Pin barred.
There's pin. That's the first option.
Mark as unread. Hide alerts. Delete. Drag barred. Activate. Default. Unpin barred.
And there's unpin. So you can unpin. If I unpin her, then she will get shuffled down into the conversations. And if I don't hear from her for a while, then her conversation would get moved down the list. But she's my wife. She's the boss. I've got to keep her up there at the top. My next conversation,
Brian, pinned,
is actually a conversation with myself. And what I do is I'll send myself a text message. This is a great way of writing things down like I used to on sticky notes and things like that. I can just text myself. So I've got myself pinned as well. Sometimes we get into group messages and it's with a bunch of people, and if you don't know who they are, if you don't have a contact card from them, it's just going to read their number. So sometimes I'll get into a large group chat and there might be 10 people and it just reads their numbers. And so effectively, if I get an incoming message from that group, a lot of times it'll try to read every single phone number in that conversation. So I have chosen a lot of times to mute these conversations. It doesn't mean that I can't get in there and read them, but I don't want to get the notifications. I don't want to read those numbers out over and over and over again. I just don't want to have to interrupt my workflow by hearing a string of numbers over and over and over again. And I think that'll just about do it for this lesson. I hear the chatbots causing a ruckus down the hallway. I better go check on them. So you all take care, and we'll see you next lesson.